Guys, welcome back to Mental Health Sunday with Michelle. If you're new and you don't know who I am, you can find me on Instagram at RosieClothingCA as well as on YouTube. Um, so recently, this week, I ended up watching the story about R. Kelly and how he was abusing young girls, um, raping them, and all of that. And I just wanted to talk about that today because I feel like it's not talked about enough, and um, I know there's a lot of like fear surrounding that, and a lot of um, there's a lot of stigma around it. So I wanted to talk about my own experience. So I've pretty much experienced some kind of abuse in every single one of my relationships. If it wasn't, uh, if it wasn't one, it was the other, and it was pretty much all emotional, psychological, and mental. Thank God there was no physical abuse, but that doesn't, make it any better. Um, the biggest one though was in my relationship in 2014. Um, I met this guy online. He was a father. He had a job. He looked good on paper. um, at first he was really nice and he was very caring, um, very emotional. He was there for me. He understood me. Like we clicked pretty right away. Um, and then 3 months later, we moved in together. Um, and like everybody that's on my IG page, like everybody knows, like I was struggling with self love and I was struggling being alone. Like I always needed somebody. I always needed to feel loved. I needed somebody to take care of me. I needed somebody to remind me that I meant something and that I mattered. Um, so after we moved in together, I started noticing that he needed sex a lot, and he was talking about it a lot and thinking about it a lot, and it just came to a point where I was like, dude, like you're fucking addicted. Um, and I've always had a low libido, so it's never been like a priority on my list. So being with him was extremely hard for me. Um, so it just got to the point where it was almost like okay, like it was almost like needing a smoke all the time. Like when I was a smoker, I needed a smoke before doing chores. I needed a smoke before leaving the house. I needed a smoke before everything. And he was like that with sex. And if he never like forced me into it violently, but um, he did like ignore when I would say no and like physically touch me, thinking that he would change my mind. Um, he took away date nights when I would say no. He would have tantrums when I would say no. Um, I still remember my mom was visiting and he was texting me saying that he wanted us to go in the room and do shit. And he said that, oh, well, you could just tell your mom that we're having a conversation. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm going to have more respect for my visitors. And he ended up going in the room and just texting me, arguing with me, having a tantrum pretty much because he wasn't getting what he wanted. Um, he took away um, like cuddling with me and being there for me, like emotionally. He took that away because apparently he couldn't give me what I wanted without getting what he wanted. Um, so he couldn't cuddle me on the couch without needing to have sex with me. He couldn't give me a massage without needing to have sex with me. And I still remember one night he gave me a massage and pretty much forced himself on me. I remember him using bribes to get what he wanted. So if I ever wanted something, he'd be like, oh, well, if you give me sex, then I'll give it to you, or you'll get it, or we'll do it. And I remember one night I wanted takeout, and I said no to his request, and so he ended up not getting takeout. So I ended up not eating that night. I remember we go for drives, and he would just park wherever, and he'd be like, oh, I want to have sex with you. And it's like, what am I supposed to do? We're in the middle of nowhere. So I would just get it over with and give it to him, and so that, we could just leave. I remember nights where I'd say yes, and then, the kids would get up, and he'd get so angry. I still remember one night he threw something at his kid because his kid wouldn't go to sleep. He was so mad because his kid was interrupting. I still remember we had a conversation in the car about rape, and he said that if he tries to have sex with a girl while she's sleeping, it's not rape. And I don't remember the conversation word for word, but obviously I didn't agree with that. If I was asleep, don't fucking touch me. And he argued that. And I remember one day he admitted that while I was sleeping, he tried to take my shorts off. And he ended up not doing anything because he couldn't get them past my knees. And I ended up waking up, or half waking up, and pulling them back up. That's what he told me. Now, obviously, I don't know what happened. But that scared me. And it just got to a point where I felt so small, and I was hiding behind sweaters, and I was so depressed, and I couldn't leave because I couldn't afford to live by myself. I had kids. I didn't have a job. It's just scary because, people tell you that, when you're in a relationship, he's your boyfriend and you're supposed to make him happy. But it's not like that at all. Just because you're in a relationship with somebody, you don't owe them anything. You don't owe them happiness. They're not entitled to your body. So I wanted to talk about that today because I know a lot of you have probably gone through it or are going through it, and I just want you to know that you're not alone. And even though it's been like 6 years, it still affects me. And it's affected my relationships, but recovery is possible. I'm with someone now who respects me, and it's going great. But yeah, so sometimes assault and rape is on a smaller scale. It's not violence, it's bribes and manipulation and guilt trips. But I want you guys to know that you have power no matter what, and you are loved no matter what. You have people out there that are there for you, and you're not alone. And he never kept me away from people, but I remember trying to go hang out with my friend, and he would just text me 24/7 until I pretty much got fed up and went right back home. All right, this is over. So I'm gonna stop the video here and just probably talk some more about it next week. I hope you guys have a good day. Don't forget, you're not alone. We're all going through something that somebody else is going through too.